So in this session, we will try to understand what is the difference between containerization and orchestration. Okay, let us try to understand the difference between containerization, containerization and orchestration, container orchestration. Okay, good. Guys, remember in previous sessions, we started understanding difference between virtualization and containers. And we also understood the advantage of containers, how efficient they are, how lightweight they are. And we understood compared with the VMs, containers are much lighter in terms of running or in terms of processing or in terms of performing different operations. We understood that containers are much lightweight and they are very fast in terms of performance. Now, most of the applications, as I discussed, they are getting converted from monolithic to microservices, which are again lightweight. And such microservices always developed in the form of image. And using that image, we will be creating containers, and those containers will be keep on running, and users will be able to access because we are exposing containers outside. This concept is called containerization, and as you know, there are many containerization tools available in the market. So one of the most famous one is a Docker. Similarly, you have one more containerization tool which is called Rocket, and there are many more containerization tools available in the market. Okay, Docker, Rocket, etc. Of course, Rocket was not become so popular, but Docker undoubtedly it is very popular in terms of containerization, right? So we also learned the same as Docker as a containerization. Now, as you know, by default, when you create any container using Docker, so they always run as a standalone containers. Okay, that means they'll be running as a individual containers, as a standalone containers. Now, as you know, standalone containers have the drawback, as in when user request, many user requests coming to the containers, because container has certain limit, it cannot handle more than certain number of user requests, and there may be high chance of performance degrade of the container, and sometimes the container itself may go down because of only single container is running. To overcome this, to handle more and more user requests, because nowadays, as you know, the services are used by many people and user request count is keep on increasing because technology evolution going. Instead of creating single, that means standalone containers, there may be always need to convert our architecture from standalone containers to group of containers. In the Docker language, group of containers is something called replicas. So we are creating a group of containers, and all these containers will be forming as a group. And as and when the user request comes in, it can go to any container within the group. That means any replica within group. And how those multiple containers are running, how the group will be running. Okay, for that it requires again a platform. It requires again a platform, and there are many platforms available in the market. Okay, to create group of containers or replicas and also manage them by performing bulk operations. And those important platforms to manage such kind of group of containers are distributed architecture or clustered architecture, whatever you call. So there are some platforms available, like most famous platforms are Docker Swarm and Kubernetes and Apache Mesos. Okay, there are many more platforms available. Okay, now what is the advantage of these platforms? Using these platforms, we will be able to create group of containers as replicas where user request will be distributed among all containers running as a group. So advantage is you will not have too much of the load on single container because your requests are keep on getting distributed. So multiple containers will be handling, okay, multiple user request. So share will be load, the user request will be shared by different containers so that load will be coming down on individual containers and there is no chance of performance issues or hanging or crashing. That issue will not be there. This concept is called orchestration. So in a simple way, how do we perform, how do we maintain group of containers? How do we perform different activities on those containers? How do we effectively manage them? And how those containers are effectively responding to the user request? So that is something called orchestration. Guys, very simple. Difference between containerization and orchestration. If you are running your application or service by creating containers, that means you are running your entire application or service as a containers. You call something as a containerization. Whereas the process of managing and running group of containers by performing different operations, okay, which is called container orchestration. Guys, to tell you in simple terms, the key difference between Docker and Docker Swarm is very simple. So Docker is a containerization tool, whereas Docker Swarm is a container orchestration tool. Container orchestration tool. So such kind of orchestration tools, there are many tools available in the market. So Docker Swarm is one of the orchestration tool, and Kubernetes is a competitor to the orchestration to the Docker Swarm. Similarly, we have one of the open source tool called Apache Mesos. So this is also one of the orchestration tool which is competitor, but unfortunately it did not highlight much in the market. But yeah, this is also one of the orchestration tool. So Docker Swarm and Kubernetes undoubtedly both are orchestration tools. Then why we talking so much about Kubernetes nowadays? Why not on the Docker Swarm? Guys, undoubtedly Docker Swarm was the initial orchestration tool which many people used. Undoubtedly many people used it. But if you look at the current industry, not many people talking about Docker Swarm, but they are talking more about Kubernetes. They're talking more about Kubernetes. Why? What is the difference? So now, as a next topic, let us talk about what is the difference between Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. As both of these are orchestration, both of these are orchestration tools. What is the main difference between these two and why people talk more about Kubernetes? Okay, let's go one by one. Let's try to draw a simple diagram to make you understand. Okay, good. All right. So first I'll be talking about Docker Swarm here. Docker Swarm. Okay. Guys, imagine you have two nodes running in the Docker Swarm. Okay. And this is called leader, as you know already. And this is called worker. This is called worker. Guys, very simple. In detail, I will try to write the points, the differences, but let me start giving you differences, or let me start giving you some of the drawbacks you have in the Docker Swarm. Then we will talk about differences. So once you understand the drawbacks or the limitations of the Docker Swarm, undoubtedly you will understand the advantage of Kubernetes. So first, let's go understand drawbacks. Guys, Docker Swarm, first and foremost thing, imagine you have total using Docker Swarm, you have created 4 replicas as a group. Okay, you have created 4 replicas as a group. When you say 4 replicas, technically there are 4 containers. Replicas 4, that means there are 4 containers available, 4 replicas. Now, let me take a simple example. Suppose if I have 4 replicas created, assume it, most of the time in the Docker, what will happen? It will get split, those containers. Okay, so 2 containers will be created on the leader node and 2 containers may create on the worker node. Okay, now 2 plus 2, total 4 containers or replicas are created, part of the deployment. As you know, anything we create on the Docker Swarm, we call it as a deployment, and part of the deployment, there are 4 replicas we are creating. So ideally, 2 plus 2 replicas, that means leader may be running with 2 containers and worker may be running with 2 containers or 2 replicas. So total 4. Guys, imagine for any reason, if you want to increase the number of replicas, that means I'm not happy with the 4, I want to increase by 1 more. Is there any automation approach here in the Docker Swarm? No. I cannot increase the number of replicas in the Docker Swarm automatically. I always need to do manually. That is a first drawback. Okay, no auto scaling. First one, no auto scaling. Second one, guys, remember self-healing. That means if anything happens to the containers, if something happens to the container, until unless you go specifically mention as a restart policy, your containers will never be started. For example, 4 replicas running. For some reason, 1 replica is down. That means 1 container is down. Now only 3 replicas running, right? 3 replicas. Does Docker Swarm really bring up 1 more container automatically? No. Until unless you go specifically mention the parameter, it will never bring. And not only that, as you remember, in the Docker Swarm, if you go download any container, if you go shut down any container manually, even though you are mentioning restart policy, still it will not, because restart policy always works only in the concept of the container is shut down or failed by Docker daemon only. But if you try to do manually, it will never work. That means self-healing is not available. Self-healing is not available in Docker Swarm. Not available in the Docker Swarm. No self-healing. That means if any replica or container go down, you will not be able to do the monitoring. And third one, no effective monitoring in the Docker Swarm. No effective monitoring available. See, because no monitoring only, anytime you want to start your container again, you have to go give a restart policy, all that you have to do it, right? No effective monitoring available, right? And fourth one, no auto rollback. No auto rollback. Okay, if something happens, okay, rollback will not be performed. No auto rollback. All right, good. So 4 major drawbacks. First, let me repeat, auto scaling. That means if I'm running with 4 replicas, tomorrow if I want to create 1 more, bring up 1 more, I cannot bring up automatically because Docker Swarm only support manual scaling. Second one, self-healing is not available. That means if for some reason, if any container down, it will not bring up automatically. If you manually shut down, it will never bring up. Even though the container is failed or shut down by the Docker daemon also, it will be restarted only if you provide a restart policy parameter. And third one, there is no effective monitoring available in the Docker Swarm. And fourth one, okay, no auto rollback. No auto rollback. Okay, that means if something happens, suppose if you redeploy any of the service, if something happens, Docker Swarm does not know how to roll back that. Okay, there is no auto rollback. Guys, as I talk about drawbacks, of course, Docker Swarm has its own advantages also. One major advantage, okay, guys, before I go to advantage, I want to cover one more point. Okay, cannot handle more containers. Okay, Docker Swarm, okay, Docker Inc itself, Docker Inc itself announced Docker Swarm cannot handle more containers. If there is any situation of you want to go for more and more containers, high number of containers, I don't think your Docker Swarm will be a good example because your Docker Swarm cannot handle more containers. All right. So these are the drawbacks. Of course, there are some advantages. Some advantages you have with the Docker Swarm, undoubtedly. First one, okay, easy to set up. Easy to set up Docker Swarm or cluster. Second one, leader also run containers and handle user request. Advantages, it's easy to set up, and second one, leader also run containers and handle user request. Okay, both leader node and worker node will be running with containers. Okay, guys, when I talk about drawbacks, now particularly I don't need to talk about advantages. You might have understood now what advantages Kubernetes provides. Kubernetes. Okay, of course, I don't need to write specifically, but I'll still write it. Okay, supports auto scaling. Suppose auto scaling. Kubernetes has one of the concept called horizontal pod scaler. You call it as a HPS. Supports auto scaling. Horizontal pod scaler. Supports auto scaling. And second one, yes, supports self-healing. Self-healing. Yes, it supports self-healing. And third one, yes, it supports effective monitoring. It supports effective monitoring. And fourth one, yes, supports auto rollback. Supports auto rollback. And yes, it can handle any number of containers. Any number of containers. Okay, so whatever missing in the Docker Swarm, everything will be provided by the Kubernetes. Okay, of course, as we talk about any advantage for any tool, of course, there are disadvantages as well. Disadvantages. Okay, drawbacks, disadvantages. I'll say limitations, I would say better word. Limitations. Or, of course, drawbacks as well. First one, difficult to set up. Difficult to set up Kubernetes, no doubt. Difficult to set up Kubernetes. Second one, leader does not run with containers and cannot handle user requests. Cannot handle user request. All right, that means if you have only one leader and one worker available in the Kubernetes, if you give number of replicas as 4, that means all 4 replicas will be created in the all 4 replicas will be created in the worker itself, because as I told you, Kubernetes, in the Kubernetes architecture, your leader does not handle any, your leader does not handle any request, because it cannot run the containers, and if no containers, even user request also cannot be handled by Kubernetes. Okay, so only worker nodes will be running with the containers, and because worker nodes are running in containers, user request always come to the containers itself. That is the drawbacks. Guys, these are some drawbacks available. So I'm repeating Kubernetes advantages and limitations. First one, it supports auto scaling. So what you can do, you can set up some parameter. Hey, if my existing containers running with heavy load, if my existing container CPU utilization is high, please go ahead and increase. Second thing, you also call it as a self-healing. For some reason, if any containers are down in the Kubernetes world, so they will be starting automatically because Kubernetes has the self-healing concept. Third one, effective monitoring. Kubernetes has one of the component called kubelet. Okay, Kubernetes has one of the component called kubelet. We will be discussing later in the coming sessions. Kubelet, and this is available by default. You don't need to set up anything manually, and kubelet is available by default, and it has the very good detailed monitoring mechanism. And next one, supports auto rollback. Okay, if you are deploying any of the service or redeploying or updating any of the service, if something goes wrong, your Kubernetes is intelligent enough to understand it is something goes wrong, and it can roll back to the previous version of deployment. That means previous version of service, which is called auto rollback. And of course, Kubernetes is huge. Kubernetes is huge. It can handle any number of containers. It's a huge, guys. I don't know whether you believe it or not. Using Kubernetes, Google runs per week around 2 billion containers. In a week, they run 2 billion containers for Google application. Okay, it's a fact. So you need to understand your Kubernetes is such a capable enough to handle that many number of containers. And limitations, as every tool, you have advantages and disadvantages, no doubt. Kubernetes required high configuration to run, especially leader. Okay, it requires little high configuration. That is one limitation. Compared with the Docker Swarm, Docker Swarm runs on low configuration as well, but Kubernetes never. It requires high configuration. That's one limitation. Second one, undoubtedly, it is very difficult. Compared with the Docker Swarm, Kubernetes is, I would say, much difficult to set up. And in Kubernetes, your leader specifically designated or dedicated for managing Kubernetes environment. It'll never run with the containers. Because it never runs with the container, your user request also never come to leader. This is the concept, you have it. That is the difference between Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. All right, so let me pull out some random differences from Google. and see what's a difference. I would say difference between Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. There will be no doubt some interesting images which will give you good information. Let me pull out some images, interesting images. Guys, I'm sure you'd be able to see it. Look at my screen. So you have a Docker Swarm Kubernetes. There are 5 important points given. I'm just trying to pick up random, right? All right. So I was going through the difference between Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. Okay, good. So if you look at here, there are some key points given. There are 5 points given, which will explain you the difference. So first one, no auto scaling in the Docker Swarm. We discussed this, but yes, Kubernetes supports it very well. Okay, Kubernetes supports it very well. In Kubernetes, there is one of the resource called horizontal pod scaler. In the short form, you call it as a HPS, horizontal pod scaler. So which is helping you. And second thing, we call it as um, good community, great active community. What is a good community and great active community? Let's try to understand. Guys, remember Docker Swarm is also a community product, but the major contribution by Docker Inc. And they have a decent people of the people who are contributing for developments of the Docker Swarm, right? Whereas when it comes to the Kubernetes, undoubtedly there is a great active community because as organization wise, many organizations using Kubernetes as a orchestration engine. There is very active community, and there are lots and lots of changes and updates they are bringing in to the Kubernetes. Of course, guys, comparatively, KubeSwarm has become little slow down because Kubernetes took over most of the market strategy. And third one, it's easy to start a cluster. As I told you, Docker Swarm is very easy in terms of setup or in terms of running container. Whereas Kubernetes, as I discussed, difficult to start a container. I told you already this point. It's undoubtedly little difficult. And fourth one is very important, guys. Limited to the Docker API's capabilities. Okay, that means you can only expose Docker related APIs, okay, using Docker Swarm. But if you look at in the Docker Kubernetes, so it can overcome constraints of Docker and Docker API. That means it is not specifically designated to the Docker API. Okay, so it goes little beyond of what it supports by the Docker Swarm. And fifth one, you can see Docker does not have much experience with the production deployment at scale. So I told you, right? You don't have auto scaling concept available in the Docker Swarm, but you definitely have that in Kubernetes. Deployed at scale more often among organizations. So you can scale it. Okay. So if you look at any random documents, if you try to pick up, guys, you will find definitely same differences more are. Just to make you understand, let us try to go one more see difference Docker and Kubernetes and Docker Swarm. GUI is the Kubernetes dashboard. There is no GUI in the Docker Swarm. This is another difference. Scalability, auto scaling, load balancing, rolling updates and rollback. I told you, right? Auto rollback available. Set and monitoring, right? More or less, if you look at it, any document says the same differences between Docker Swarm and Kubernetes. Okay, yeah, those are the high level details I wanted to make you understand and why Kubernetes has become more popular, especially because it has the quality of supporting huge number of containers and default monitoring, auto scaling, auto rollback. These are the some great advantages with the Kubernetes. Of course, even though there is a little challenge in setting up Kubernetes, it is little difficult, But I don't think it's too difficult. Maybe if you try once, twice, you will understand how does it work. But once you set up, most of the activities are automated. That's a great advantage you have with the Kubernetes. All right. So in the coming sessions, we will also talk about Kubernetes architecture in detail. Right? Good.